try to give a little divrei chizuk. It's unfortunate in a very, very hard situation, but we trying to find my words. I'm not a speaker. I've never spoken before, but this is something that the Eibishter has done, and we have to work on myself. And this is something I said we have to be makabel b'ahava. Being, when we first found out about this last week, Friday, Montreal time was 9:30 in the morning. And it's a very big shock. We were up a whole night, Thursday night. Again, initially we got reports that he was spotted. Then I had my second son, a married son, which was there in Meron at the same event with his wife. He just got married a couple of months ago. And he told me, yes, he just saw him. Where this happened is not the same area. So, we weren't too nervous. So, Baruch Hashem, we got a message. My son said he was in a different area. All the phones shut down. This was around, I went to Dav Mincha Ma'ariv around, 8 o'clock probably, and I wasn't too nervous. Anyway, as the night got along, we're still trying to see, okay, we still haven't heard from him. People are starting to hear from certain people. I got one of my Israeli cousins forwarded me a message saying that anybody from the police saying anybody was notified was they sent a WhatsApp that was unfortunately anything that happened to anybody, the people were notified. So if you didn't hear any notification, you're good. I said, Baruch Hashem, thank God. Again, we're still nervous. I said, I'm happy to hear all these positive signs and that people think they saw him or heard him. But they said all the phones were down. So okay, listen, we'll wait and see. As the night is progressing, this is already like I called his yeshiva. He's learning yeshiva's mir, and I said, listen, I have to do my hishtadlus. I have to do everything I can in order to be sure 100,000,000% that my son is okay. Baruch Hashem, my married couple was okay. They actually went back to Yerushalayim, and as far as they knew, everything was okay because I had gotten 2 voice notes confirming that that he was spotted and he's fine. Anyway, then trying to think of my trainer. My mind is not working that good. Bear in mind, I haven't slept really since last week, Thursday night. We were up all night doing everything we can. Once as the nights was progressing, we were calling. There was some very kind Askunim who came to our house. Just 11:30 at night. I had actually shuli forehand and my brother-in-law Yankel Person and his wife and the Sheva Fisher was there and Yona Bauman. Just I'm saying shkoyach v'akus atov that they were there. When they came, I told them, "Why are you wasting your time? Go to bed. I want to go to sleep also." It wasn't. I didn't feel that it wasn't so drastic. This is at 11:30 at night. No, we want to be here for you. We want to, Anyway, as the night is progressing, they were looking for a certain boy from Los Angeles. I have a brother living in Los Angeles. He was contacted saying that he was spotted with Davi. They were looking for him, my son Davi. They were looking for this other boy. And finally at 3 o'clock in the morning, this boy that was supposedly seen with Davi called me. Because I sent the same message. If you guys see him, have him call me too. Either or. Anyway, he called me around 3 a.m. and I said, "Are you with Davi?" He says, "No. Did you see him?" I said, and he sounded all very, very mixed. I felt like he was really in shock, and obviously he didn't have any information. I didn't want him to feel bad and start, drilling him for information that he didn't really have. So as the night was progressing, it was we were really calling everything we can. I have a lot of connections in Israel. Most of my father's family lives there. There's police people there. There's Askunim, my friends of our family, which have a lot of connections. We went to every single hospital. We had friends checking everywhere. I said, I was telling my wife, Emet Hashem, when we find him, he's going to be the most wanted person in Israel. Because every time we called the hospital, or there was the hotline, Davi Steinmetz, Otpam, no, and this is like we're calling different areas, and like it wasn't the first person that. But again, as a father, as a parent, we want to do the best we can for our children. This is. And that's what we live for. We live for our family, for our kids. Then the Eibishter has to give us koyach to be able to do the best we can. And so around 5 o'clock in the morning, I decided I'm going to go to the mikveh. It was Erev Shabbos. I want to prepare for Shabbos. Again, at that point, I was getting more nervous by the hour, but I said, I want to do my shtadlus. I want to do everything the best I can. I want to daven. I went. I brought home my talis and tefillin because I wanted to make sure I'm mutual at home. I didn't want them to in case they needed me suddenly. My son woke up in Israel, the one who went home, and he, as far as he knew, everything was okay. And then suddenly he wakes up and the whole world is looking for Davi. He was like in a big panic. He didn't know what to do. So we said, just go to the koisel, go daven at the koisel. So he took a taxi to go to the koisel. And as he's going there, one of the people helping us in Meron, one of the head, he's the head of the Achnus Zachem. He's a very good friend of the family. His name is Laser Karlbach. Again, Laser, thank you so much for all the help that you did, trying to locate him and with everything along the way. He says, have your son go to Abu Kabir, which is the like a medical institute, basically the morgue. I mean, that's where they go and identify all they go for the official process of whatever has to get done. And in the meantime, as I said, I had Elisheva Fisher, a good friend of the family in our house, keeping my wife Chizuk, her son. We're good friends of the family, and he's a good friend of my son. I told my son he was in the taxi going to the Koisel, go pick up Nochem, and just drive together. I didn't want him being alone, and I had to be ready for everything. In the meantime, my first cousin, Moshe Gershon Steinmetz, was already on his way to Abu Kabir with his brother-in-law Davi Rubenstein, which is a Hatzula guy. Anything. Again, we activated everything that we could do in order to, I was hoping that he wasn't there because they said he's not on the list. He's not on the list. So anyway, they went down there and there was a lot of red tape and things are going on. In the meantime, it's true he wasn't on the list, but there was two lists. There was a list of 24 people, and then there was another list of 20 people or whatever. So he wasn't on the first list, and we said Baruch Hashem for that. But anyway, we still didn't have any answers. We knew he wasn't in any hospitals, and we couldn't find him anywhere. So as they were there, back and forth, I think Rabbi Lau came, the chief rabbi visit to try and help expedite the situation. The not knowing, we were there for, pretty much from about 4 o'clock in the morning, it started, we were getting really nervous and had a bad feeling that things are not going as good. The whole episode was a tragedy. Even before I knew that any of my kids were involved, you hear that there was an accident and there were so many people hurt or killed. It's like, it's terrible. It's terrible. And anyway, unfortunately, at around 9:30 our time, came in the official confirmation, and they confirmed that my son was one of the korbanos. My son is Suchadav Beresh, Davi we call him. And it's nobody should ever be put into a situation like this. No one. No, as a parent, as a grandparent, as a friend, it's something you never want to go through. But as I told my kids and my wife, my in-laws were there also, the Eibishter für die Welt, God runs the world, we don't understand, man versteht nicht. And auf Makabas and Bahava means we have to accept it with love. I'm telling all the rabbis, I've met a lot of big rabbis in the past week, all the rebbes and Rosh Hashivas, everything. I said, I'm working with Makabas, we're getting there. Bahava, it's going to take a little longer. It's not something that we chose, but the Eibishter, chose us. He did. It wasn't something that it wasn't my choice, but they threw me the ball, and now I have to do the best I can with what I have. Anyway, at the end of the day, I have to, I'm working on this again. The Eibishter gave me a pikudin, he gave me a diamond. We had him for 21 years. Everybody's starting to hear how special he was. Again, he was very special. We loved him. I loved him as much as I love all my kids. And I said everybody's focusing on Davi because unfortunately it happened now to Davi, but all my kids everybody is like this. But again, the Eibishter feet, and he just did so many special things. I want to try to focus on the last things of his life that I didn't know this at the time, which I'm only finding out over the Shiva. Again, I'm not looking at any news clips and things. It's just more of things that people are sending me and telling me, and my cousins that were there, and eyewitnesses that were telling me things straight out. But again, if things were wrong, don't take me personally for it. My mind hasn't been, I haven't slept too much in the past week. But the Eibishter should give me koiches that we should be able to continue and make the world a better place, and make my son Yisuchad Avesh Neshama be in Aliyah as high as possible. And we're working on for him to do the best we can in Hashem. So anyway, this was Erev Shabbos. We knew we had to get to, in order for us to get to Seoul to Israel for the Kfur on time. We knew we had to get a flight out of Newark, JFK. I'm sorry, Matzah Shabbos 11:45. The only way to make it was to get to New York right away. We got a flight to New York Friday. We flew to New York, my family, and my son. I have my son that lives in Monsey, and we said we're going to spend Shabbos together. As we're going to make for Shabbos. Again, this is very hard for everybody. For me and my wife, I don't know what to say, and I'm trying to be mechazik myself as much as possible. I'm telling the kids over and over, the Eibishter feed the world, God runs the world, and we have to be makabel. We have to be makabel. And I'm saying things because I'm figuring the more I say, the more hopefully I'll be able to accept it. Again, it's not easy. It's not something I never even thought how I was going to think. I never even thought I'm going to be put into a situation like this. It just happens, and I'm just trying to deal with it as best as possible. Anyway, so Shabbos we tried to have my daughter-in-law prepared Shabbos for us. My son, I can't thank them enough. I can't thank my daughter-in-law's parents for setting everything up, that we shouldn't have any, to make it, to help us under the circumstances the best. No words. Anyway, Shabbos is coming. We went to daven Kabbalah Shabbos. We went to daven Mincha. As we're davening, we're finishing davening by Olena for Mincha. I sometimes have these jokes, somebody popped into my head. I said, you know what? I want to daven Kabbalah Shabbos. I want to lead the services. So the rabbi was there. So the Gabbai said, "You want to daven?" He asked me to daven. You want to daven? So I said, "Yes." He said, "Okay." Then the rabbi looked at me. He wasn't sure if you're allowed to daven because I'm an oinen. I'm in between. Before the burial, you are. Anyway, but the rabbi said, "Oh, you know what? Okay, you asked. Let him daven." So anyway, I davened Kabbalah Shabbos. Mit Abren as best as I could. I said I tried not to cry, because if I'm crying, the whole defeats the purpose. The whole thing is not to have any, in Shabbos there's no aveilus b'Shabbos. You're supposed to be happy. Again, it's very hard to be happy, but I didn't want to be broken and crying the whole time. So how my davening was, you would have to check with the people who daven there. I hope it wasn't too bad. I'm not the biggest chazan, but I thank the Eibishter that Baruch Hashem I was able to daven. It definitely gave me chizik. By me knowing that I daven Kabbalah Shabbos to thank the Eibishter in such a situation, it gave me chizik. It wasn't easy, but we davened, and it helped. So again, we do what we have to do in Zamayiden, and certain things which, again, the Eibishter like I davened. didn't think about, didn't analyze. Anyway, we ate to see the Friday night with the kids. My wife was also beyond emotionally drained, physically drained. Again, we've been up since Thursday morning pretty much, and we went to sleep with Shabbos. We tried to do the best we can for the rest of Shabbos, and then we had to get ready to leave Matzah Shabbos. We made Abdullah. We took the flight to Etzisroel. And we had they were waiting for us in order. The idea was that we had to get the crew before Shkia. Very important, especially in Yerushalayim. So we were able to have a burial place. They asked me where we wanted to bury in Har Menuchos, which is next. We had my grandfather's buried there. I wanted him to be next to family. Again, there was a lot of Siyata Shmai to find a spot close by to him. And listen. The Chefek Kedisha, it's a story for a different time, but we were able to get a spot close by. So getting out of the airport, we had a little bit of a hard time suddenly with the Corona situation. They they wanted us to start getting. I mean, we had PCR tests that we needed obviously to get onto the plane, but we didn't have all the. They want to start doing serology, and I don't know what kind of thing. Then we started. We said, listen, we have to catch a bird. It was very hard, like every second counts. Anyway, one lady, another lady my wife was getting, we were all getting very antsy after 25 minutes, which felt like an hour and 25 minutes. My wife really lost it. And, usually we don't like it to be that way. But I said, you know what, at this point, I have nothing to lose. We have to do what we have to do, Mitchum, to get my son buried. And she started really yelling, and there was nobody in the airport. Remember, nobody's flying these days. And managers came running, what's going on? And we explained that we came to bury our son, and they're being held up by bureaucracy, and it doesn't make sense. I said, we were supposed to come right out. Anyway, because my wife was yelling and screaming, and then the man said, okay, just go. But the point what I want to bring out is not my wife yelling and screaming. What she accomplished by that, there was a family, my son passed away together with his friend Yossi Cohn. I don't know if people heard the story, but I'm going to continue with the story. You're going to see where it comes into play. And his family, he was Nebuchadnezzar Yosem. He lost his father, I don't know, when he was 11, 12 years old, or 13 years old. And his whole family, all his uncles, they were coming in, 57 people. So if they would have been stopped with bureaucracy, it would have been a lot worse. So because of what my wife did in order to speed up the situation, that she has the schus, that the 57 people from their family was able to leave right away. By the way, I want to point out, I forgot one very, very, very important aspect just to prove how the Noshim Tzidkunias, the Yiddish mamas, what they're doing. We were on our way to the airport, to JFK, Matzah Shabbos, after Abdullah. Mrs. Gestetner from Montreal, she lost her son, Shragi, which is 35 years old, called my wife in the car to give her chizuk. She just lost her son and called my wife to give chizuk. That's what the Yiddish mama is. My wife was like, can't believe you're calling me. Anyway, they spoke a couple minutes on the phone. It was tremendous chizuk. My wife then turned around and thought, what? She got a hold of Mrs. Cohn's number, which is, I don't think she's ever spoken to in her life. And she said, let me give her chizuk. So one Yiddish mama is giving chizuk for another Yiddish mama in like the worst time of their lives ever. And this is unbelievable. I was so proud of my wife. I couldn't believe it. I didn't even know who she was speaking to be honest. I was sitting next to her and she was giving chizuk. She herself was in so much pain and she was thinking for somebody else. Mrs. Gestetner was in so much pain. She was thinking about my wife. It's unbelievable. But this is what Yiddish mamas, they do. And again, I'm proud of my wife. It's my wife, but this is something that I wish to. We want to make a Kiddush Hashem here. We want the Eibush to be proud of us. We're all one people, one nation. And then I'm going fast forward back to on the way to the airport. Bottom line, we left the airport to Har Menuchos, and Baruch Hashem, we made it on time. And again, I was in a daze. I had no idea what I was doing, where I was going. I just followed instructions pretty much, my first time I've ever been in a situation like this. Hashem should never ever be, and I wish it upon nobody. So also then they asked me who's going to speak. So I said, I guess obviously I have to say something to my son's Levaya. So I gave a hesped, and my kids spoke, and then we did the kvur. Again, my hesped. Now I know people were very inspired by my hesped. I had before going, I just said, "I should give the richtige Wörter. I should give me the right words. I have no idea what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say. I should give me the shmaya to give the most covered amazed possible I can do for my son. The same way I wanted to give him the most amazing bar mitzvah ever. The most you want to give the best for your kid's life. Same, you want to do the best. That's cover the mess. That's what it is." So both my kids spoke amazing. Also, we did the crew, and Baruch Hashem, we made it before Shkia. Not only that we made it before Shkia, we were still able to daven mincha. So we were able to daven mincha right by next to the crew. We went to wash our hands and we daven mincha. Again, we are Hasidim, so we push the limits on the time we daven mincha after Shkia. Not everybody does that. I rented the hall 5 minutes away, right across the street from the Beis HaChaim, from HaMenuchas, and because I knew we have so many people, we have so many family that was the friends. I mean, Davi had hundreds of friends. My Yudi Tzvi Davi, all my kids that we had, they're popular kids, and everybody's they're young, they're living there, they were all in yeshiva. So to be fair, at least we're going to sit shiva for 2 hours in Israel. We were there from 8 to 10 sitting shiva. Again, not at the Levaya, I had no idea how many people were there. Afterwards, I heard there was thousands and 5,000-6,000 people. I don't know. I lost track. I didn't. I wasn't looking. I was just. Again, I was being guided by Hashem, and danking and loibim the Eibishter all the time. It's not easy, but we're trying the best we can. We sat shiva over there for 2 hours. Again, a few more thousand people came to be as mechazik and to be menachem uvel. Rabbi Lau, the chief rabbi from Israel, came also, and he explained how he went to the institute Abu Kabir to help out, because it was Erev Shabbos. Again, this all happened Erev Shabbos, so we were very time limited. They couldn't finish identifying all the bodies. And again, I thanked him for his help, and I thanked everybody for doing whatever they could. All the Askunim, everybody was part of helping to do the best they can. And I'm saying it publicly now again. I'm thanking everybody. And we flew back we went back to the airport, and basically we got back we barely made the flight. I mean, they were waiting for us, and they closed the door, and we were, and we took off. We landed in Newark Monday morning. We went to Monsey, and we davened shachas over there. I went to sleep maybe an hour, 45 minutes. I don't even know. And we had a few thousand people came to be as Menachem Uvel. And am I talking too long, by the way? I don't know if this is what the rabbi wants. Should I keep going? I can't hear you. Put a thumbs up if you want me to keep going.
You want to hear the story of your son that saved lives.
Okay. Anyway, we davened in Monsey. We sat shiva there for the day, and there's also a clip that was went around that we were singing. It was suddenly I wanted to sing some of my son's favorite songs. There was a few hundred boys in the room there, and it was very inspiring. And anyway, as the day is coming on, the guy who was sitting in Monsey says, "I want to tell you. I'm starting to hear stories. My cousin went to." When we decided we want to go be mechazik on my behalf, to go be mechazik, my cousin said he's going to go be mechazik all the 44 families living in Israel. My first cousin lives there, Reb Shlomo Steinmetz. He went to each family to go say he's coming on my behalf and tell them, just to give them divrei chizuk, and that we're in it together, even though we went in, we went out, we're back in Canada. So he calls me back. I live in Bnei Brak. I went to see. He says, "You're not going to believe what just happened. You're not going to believe it." So what? I says, "I went to a family. I told them I'm a Steinmetz." He said, "You're Steinmetz?" So this family called Chayut. The father was there with two children, an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old. He says, "My legs were broken, and I couldn't get up. And my kids were there." suddenly saw these two. He recognized them only because of, unfortunately, afterwards, it's all the pictures of all the carbonas, all the people that passed away. So he said, there was so he said, yeah, there was guys, Cohn and Steinmetz from Canada, and he said. He said, so he said they told him, don't worry, we're gonna take care of him. And my son he has a very funny sense of humor. He says he used to say this on a regular basis. Don't worry, Tati, I'm gonna take care of him. I'll die trying. And I say, Davi, don't talk that way. But that's typical Davi. He had a tremendous life how do you say it in English? Joie de vivre. Tremendous. How do you say it? Simcha Zachaim. The Simcha Zachaim is tremendous. He always took care of all his friends all the time, and this is when he was at the. We're going into a situation here where fathers, there were two broken legs, and he said he's going to take care of him. He said he was going there with his friend Yossi Cohn. He's 6'4". His friend Yossi Cohn is 6'2", where they're big, strong, 21-year-old boys, and he said, "Don't worry, we're going to take care of your kids." And they're standing there, and they really tried the best. The mother said they were like a butterfly trying to protect the kids. And the older boy survived, and unfortunately, them two, Yossi and Davi, and the boy passed away. When they found them, they were all together. Somebody came to be Menachem. We didn't know exactly what happened. Somebody came to be Menachem over us in Muncie, and he came in like in a daze. Like he was in shock, and he says, "Ich darf do the time was du geschehen. I have to tell you what happened here." And I said, "I was with you on the plane." I said, "I was with you on the plane." No. I just came from Iran now, and I have to explain to you what was going on. You should understand. I said, "Okay." So he says, "We were in this mare, which was sort of a tunnel or something." And there was, of all the pressure, he says his feet were barely touching the ground. His feet were barely touching the ground. They were like floating. And then he said, all of a sudden, he says, I passed out. I didn't even realize. I don't know how long I passed out. I was unconscious, 5-10 minutes, maybe longer. He has no idea. The next thing he knew, he says the people were spritzing water on him. And like he woke up and like he didn't even know how he got to where he was. So what he wanted to tell me to be Menachemas, which was he was trying to bring the point was to tell us like he like fell asleep. So basically he said, so if he wouldn't have woken up, he wouldn't have even known that he passed away. That's how there was a lack of oxygen in that area where they were, and people just passed out. And that's what happened, unfortunately, with my son and his friend, that they were trying strong, but suddenly they just lost consciousness, and unfortunately the worst happened. And then somebody actually challenged this guy. He says, "Oh no, we saw that there was blood on certain clips." And he said, "Blood? There was no blood there." He said, "The blood that you saw on the videos, that was from the live people. They were trying to get out. They were pulling off the metal paneling, and they injured themselves a little." When he woke up, he's in between all the karbonas, and he says everybody was nuki, everybody was rein. They were clean. They looked, there was no. Everybody was clean. So that it was in the Chumah itself, because unfortunately when we got the news and we didn't know what happened, my wife we were both tremendously distraught and saying like our child maybe suffered, he was in pain, he was suffering. And I told my wife that, and I didn't know it at the time, and I told the I said, he is by Reb Shlomo Bar Yochai, and Reb Shlomo Bar Yochai is Yutzad in the holiest place he can be in that day. 100% Reb Shlomo was taking care of him. 100%. I said it to her there, and she said, "How can I don't believe it?" She said, "I said that I'm telling you." And Baruch Hashem, the Eibush schicked two shlichim, live eyewitnesses, to tell us, to confirm to us that the kids did not suffer. They didn't suffer at all. They were nifted. The Eibush decided they had to take these karbonos, but they did not suffer. They went up clean, like Maluchim. And this was confirmed afterwards by my cousin, who had to go identify with his rabbi from yeshiva that they were clean. There was no. That is a nechum. I mean, obviously nobody should be taken anything, but if they're going, you want to know that at least there was no suffering. Again, my Davi was a tremendous chaim. I'm trying to give chizik for his boys, his indira, in yeshiva. I found out the last thing he did, he actually got injured. He twisted his ankle 2 hours before, and so they took him away on the stretcher. And somebody sent me a clip of him. He was, even while he was on the stretcher, he was dancing away, and he was so happy to be there. But he calls me up. He says, "Tati, they want to send me I have X-rays in an Israeli. I'm not going to an Israeli hospital for X-ray." Told him, "Send me an American ALS. He'll tell me what to do." Anyway, Balma, he called me. They put him on a bandage, an ice pack. He called me. He was good. He was good. He said, "Tati, I'm good." There's a clip of him pouring oil on the bonfire at the top. And then he actually gave the oil also to the boy who was after. The boy who was after him is his friend. Doing this oil is a schis. You have to pay money for it. It costs like, whatever it was, a few hundred, it's 100 shekel a bottle. And he told me his friend's name is Jake. He says, "Jake, don't worry. I got you covered. Don't worry about it. Here's the oil." So he made a mitzvah till the last second before he didn't even know he was on top. He went down, and his last seconds life is there to save a child. He saved the child. And the mother said, even the fact that the child who didn't die had an extra 2-3 minutes because of Davi. So, I mean, whoever knows Davi, he is, besides he has his heart, he is there for everybody. He always, anyway, I don't want to start saying stories because I can talk all night. And I don't want to keep everybody, but I'll just finish off on the last story because this happened on the way to the airport. The local grocery store, which is next to the yeshiva, calls my son, my oldest son. This is Davi, is my third son. He's been in yeshiva in the same school so they've had my credit card on file pretty much for the past 3-4 years. You know, we're there to help our kids as much as possible. And we're happy to help them because they're learning yeshiva, they're steiging away. So he always tells me, Tati, I want to make something special. Reb Shimon Zil, I'm going to make a big Shabbos. Okay. Anyway, I even forgot that he told me, to be honest. But every time they want to do a big thing, he gives me a heads up just to know, and then they thank me afterwards. So the grocery store calls my son Yuri, my oldest son. Davi ordered for 3,000 shekel. He was going to go make something special for Kiddush or whatever, for the Shabbos, for everybody, for all his friends. And unfortunately, it got canceled after this whole tragic event. I want to put, what should I do with it? So the Yudi tells me, just give it to all the poor people. Your local grocery store, Meir Shom over there, everybody's poor. You know who needs the most. 3,000 shekel in Beis Yisrael in that area goes a long way. This is not Montreal. You can, it's a lot of money. And fine, he calls back my son Yudi, and this is somebody, a grocery store owner, which is not necessarily, I don't know how from he is. And he says, Yuri, I can't take the money. It's your father's money. He wasn't, he wasn't married. Your brother wasn't married. I can't take it from him. And Yuri says, don't worry, my father's sitting next to me. Let me ask him permission. He asked me anyway. So Yuri, I told the grocer, I'm next to him. I'm giving full permission. My Gesundheit, he should give to alles, whoever, all the whoever needs it, Lilith Nishmusa. So basically, he's giving people, even after he was nifter, the Shabbos after he was nifter, he gave 3,000 shekel, which is, people should make l'chaims and enjoy, and that's my Davi. And I'm not a talker, but I wanted to give chizik to everybody that it's not easy. It's not easy. We're trying. I have thousands of people I've met over the past week. Everybody's so zerbrochen. And I should put me in the situation. We want to make a Kiddush Hashem. We want to grow from here. I'm telling everybody, it's in Nishmas Yisuchadav Be'esh, in the Shumas should have an Aliyah. He has to grow higher and higher and higher. But we're going to find out. This is Davi Steinmetz from Montreal. I'm telling you, I'm on Zoom here in Montreal, I think. Right? All the rabbis in Montreal. We have an Achra. But Davi Steinmetz is from Montreal. They're going to say the Montreal are going to come. We're going next level. We're going to inspire the whole world. We want to help. We're going to get people to make more mitzvahs. We want people to take on Kabulas. I don't know where we're going, but we're going all out. We're going all out. I'm telling all my kids are making fun of me. I'm telling everybody, put on your seatbelts. We're going rocket space. The sky's the limit. So the Eibush should help me and should give me koiches. And should give koiches for my wife, that we should be able to be able to continue to take it. Again, we're sitting in Shiva. We're only getting up from Shiva tomorrow. I wasn't planning to speak, but listen, we have to do our shtadlus for Well, it's for my son's neshama. So if this is what I can do for his neshama to go higher, that's what it is. So I wish everybody that should be healthy, gesund, stark, alle bruches, and all the Rabbonim who has of Spurs and the Chabad houses which are doing this. You should all be